The 3 skills that make you unfireable in the age of AI. AI just gave a raise to one group and a pay cut to everyone else. If your work looks like past data, models do it faster, cheaper, and indistinguishably, and identical gets underpriced. But 3 human skills still command a premium. Trust that earns first call status, problem framing that removes costly uncertainty, and adaptability that turns shocks into new income. I'll show you how to build them, prove them with metrics, and convert them into salary, scope, and upside. 2 quick promises, no fluff, and everything tied to numbers you can use in negotiations. First, the reality check, what AI replaces and what it can't. Here's what most people miss. Only 18% of workers have figured this out. PwC's 2025 data shows those operators command a 56% wage premium. If you're in the other 82%, the window to switch groups is short, about 18 months before role compression bites. What AI replaces versus what it can't. Here's what actually happens when AI enters a workflow. Anything routine, documented, and rich in examples gets accelerated, standardized, and repriced. Think first drafts, reconciliations, status reports, boilerplate code, vendor screening, market scans, legal research, and QA on predictable inputs. Adoption feels sudden because those tasks map cleanly to training data, so models get good fast. The immediate effect isn't mass layoffs. It's task erosion, scope shrinkage, and downward pressure on roles anchored to repetition. But here's where it gets interesting. Impact is uneven. Knowledge work that lives in text, numbers, and structured logic compresses faster than trades in messy physical environments. 1,000 near-duplicate reports are perfect for automation. A crooked crawlspace isn't. That's why analysts, coordinators, junior legal staff, and many developers feel sharper shifts than electricians or nurses on the floor. The data-rich gets automated. The variable, embodied, and high liability stays human-led. Tools aren't teammates. They don't carry accountability, own risk, or read the room. Oversight remains human, especially when data is partial, incentives conflict, or politics matter. In practice, companies reduce headcount on pure execution and elevate integrators. People who assemble tools, align stakeholders, and own outcomes. Hiring signals already tilt toward interface work, negotiating scope, translating intent into systems, and taking responsibility when edge cases hit. Most people think AI replaces jobs, but the better lens is AI replaces steps. When steps become cheap, value moves to the bottlenecks that remain scarce. Those bottlenecks are human, framing new problems from ambiguous signals, building trust in high-stakes decisions, and owning risk without a script. Employers ultimately pay for reduced uncertainty under volatility, not keystrokes. That's where premiums show up. Wages don't fall uniformly, they diverge. Workers who integrate AI into high-judgment contexts see faster growth because they convert tools into leverage, more throughput, higher decision quality, clearer ROI. Roles defined by predictable deliverables reprice as outputs become abundant. That spread is the core story of the next 5 years. Inside roles, the mix changes. Engineers shift from boilerplate to architecture, integration, compliance, and performance debugging where failure is expensive. Analysts shift from dashboards to questions, kill criteria, and interpreting model outputs against incentives and constraints. Project managers shift from coordination mechanics to stakeholder alignment, sequencing, and escalation under risk. Same titles, different value center. Now, this is important because it clarifies your move. If your day is 70% predictable and 30% ambiguous, AI will eat the 70% and magnify the stakes on the 30%. You either step into that 30%, trust, framing, risk, or you get pinned to the part the market can buy for less. Quick gut check. Can you name a decision you de-risked last quarter? If not, you're sitting where price pressure gathers. Physical work tells a complementary story. Trades, field service, and frontline care keep more value because environments are variable, privacy is tight, and liability is real. Automation shows up as augmentation, diagnostics, scheduling, parts optimization, not full replacement. The human remains the interface where improvisation and trust live. Even there, though, documentation, quoting, and routing compress. Same pattern, low judgment tasks cheapen, high trust interactions price up. Oversight and governance lag capability. That gap makes leaders hunt for operators who can deploy tools and design guardrails, checklists, test harnesses, red teaming, and expert review gates. These aren't glamorous, but they're valuable because they prevent rework, overruns, and brand damage. If you can say, here's the risk I'll own and the controls I'll run, you move to the scarce side of the line. Demand already shifted. Job. Postings lean toward integrators, negotiators, and owners. Fewer heads for throughput, more for human-to-machine and team-to-team interfaces. Interface sounds abstract. It isn't. It's the layer where expectations are set, trade-offs are made, and accountability is assigned. That's the work AI can't finish, because finishing requires consent, priority, and risk agreements among humans. Money angle, simplified, price track scarcity plus risk absorption. As automated outputs flood the market, certainty becomes rare. People who reduce uncertainty, by establishing trust, framing problems correctly, and owning risk, capture premiums in salary, scope, and equity. They also get priority allocation. First call when something breaks, first choice on high-impact mandates, first seat when resources are scarce. Everything changes when you measure your contribution that way. Stop counting hours, start counting uncertainty removed. Did you improve close rates by reframing value for a skeptical stakeholder? Did you shorten time from idea to validated decision? Did a single clarifying question prevent an expensive misstep? Those outcomes signal you're on the human side of the divide. One more pattern interrupt. Most people try to outrun AI by stacking more hard skills. Upskilling matters, but the durable hedge is stacking human-only leverage on top of tools. Learn the tech enough to multiply output, then push energy into the three bottlenecks: trust, framing, and risk ownership. That stack travels across roles, industries, and cycles. Microstory to ground it. A team debated consolidating vendors after an AI tooling upgrade. Everyone argued features. The trusted operator asked, "What breaks if migration slips 4 weeks? And whose OKR dies if we don't consolidate?" Real risk was a regulatory deadline, not feature parity. They proposed phased consolidation with a red team gate and preserved the deadline. Outcome protected, mandate expanded. Plant this loop now. Skill 1 is trust, because trust sets price and access before performance even starts. Build it, and your paycheck moves first. Then we'll turn it into money with metrics you can bring into your next negotiation. Skill 1. Human connection and trust, what it really is. Trust isn't chemistry, charm, or being good in meetings. It's an operating asset. Credibility plus context reading plus incentive alignment, proven through how you set expectations, narrate progress, and handle risk under pressure. In volatile environments, leaders don't buy tasks, they buy certainty. Your job is to make commitments safe to say yes to, and safe to defend when something wobbles. Start with credibility. It's 2 signals: proof you've done the thing, and proof you won't bluff when you haven't. Real confidence sounds like, here's what I can guarantee, here's what's probabilistic, and here's the test we'll run to validate the risky part. That framing lowers heart rates and moves work out of debate and into execution. Credibility compounds when your forecasts match reality within tight error bars and your red flags arrive early, with options. Now context reading. Most people listen for tasks. You listen for stakes. Who owns the KPI that breaks if we slip? Which constraint is real versus negotiable? What political landmines matter more than the spreadsheet? You translate those answers into an approach people can actually live with. Scope shaped to incentives, timelines that respect review gates, and decision points placed where authority really sits. When people feel seen by their real scoreboard, they relax and cooperate. Then incentive alignment. Trust accelerates when agreements are explicit and public. Define owners, dates, assumptions, definitions of done, and an escalation path before work starts. Publish a weekly one-pager. What moved, what's blocked, which decision you need, and what you'll do next regardless. When slippage shows up, you renegotiate early in private, then confirm the new plan in writing. You're not hiding mess, you're containing risk and preserving momentum. Okay, so here's the thing. Ambiguity is where trust is earned fastest. When requirements are fuzzy, propose a reversible test. We'll run a 2-week spike to tackle the top 3 unknowns. Kill criterion. If defect rate stays above 2% or cycle time doesn't drop at least 15%, we stop and pivot. That single page turns fog into checkpoints and gives leadership a reason to fund you without fear. Hybrid work increases the stakes. Short messages, missing tone, unclear priority. That's where reputations die. Your fix is boring and lethal. Tighter agreements, shared briefs, and predictable updates. Version A by Wednesday, validate with PRIA same day. Go/no-go Friday 3 p.m. Escalation to ops if dependency X is late. Clarity reduces everyone's cognitive load and brands you reliable. A quick microstory. A customer success lead kept losing the room during heated QBRs. They rebuilt trust with one change, a governance slide. Up front, objective, constraints, risks, escalation lanes, and the 4 commitments they'd keep regardless of curveballs. Escalations dropped, expansions rose, and the exec sponsor began routing hairy issues straight to them. First call status unlocked budget. But here's where it gets interesting. Trust isn't only upside, it's downside protection. In high liability domains, leaders pay premiums for people who spot landmines early, regulatory exposure, reputational risk, vendor fragility. Show your checklists, red team prompts, and review gates. Make your guardrails part of the pitch. Buyers don't just want the win, they want fewer surprises on the way to it. You need behaviors you can train fast, deep listening, open with stakes, not tasks. What would make this quarter a win? What gets you yelled at? Framing. 1-page brief, objective, constraints, options, risks, next step, and kill criteria. Clear agreements, owners, dates, definitions of done, an escalation path with names. Progress narration. Weekly 1-pager, same structure, same day, same time. Integrity under stress. Surface slippage early, offer 2 options with trade-offs, and ask which constraint matters more, budget or deadline. Most people will nod and then skip the documentation. Don't. Artifacts are how trust travels. The exec who didn't attend the kickoff still needs to feel safe saying yes. Your brief and scorecard carry your reputation into rooms you're not in. Now, a pattern interrupt you'll want to remember. Tell them your uncertainty before they discover it. 2 assumptions drive this plan. If either cracks, we'll pause at checkpoint 2. This flips you from risk to risk manager. Over time, you'll notice a shift. Leaders start asking you to set the plan, not just execute it. How do you know it's working? The metrics move: faster approvals, fewer escalations, shorter cycles from idea to decision, higher renewal and referral rates, and larger mandates. Internally, you get earlier access to information, priority on shared resources, and invitations to trade-off meetings. Externally, close rate and average contract value rise together because buyers feel protected. One more microstory. A product lead inherited a late project with angry stakeholders. Instead of accelerating silently, they reset the frame in 24 hours. A 2-week burndown, a visible risk board, twice weekly 15-minute readouts, and a single decision-needed line per update. They hit the revised date, logged 3 avoided incidents, and walked out with authority to redesign the intake process. Trust bought them scope. Bottom line, trust is built before performance shows up. In the kickoff, the brief, the agreements, and the narration. Then, when the edge case hits, you're the first call. First call status is a career accelerant. It brings budget, people, and mandates. In a world where AI compresses outputs, that human certainty is the scarce thing leaders are still happy to pay for. Next, we'll turn that asset into money, because reputation is good, but priced reputation changes your compensation. Skill 1: financial payoff, negotiating power and price premiums. Let's cash in the trust you've been compounding. When stakeholders experience you as certainty under pressure, 3 levers move in your favor at once: price, scope, and access. Those levers turn the same resume into very different income. Start with salary. Trusted operators don't ask for raises. They reprice roles around risk they already own. The line is simple and specific. Here are the outcomes I've made safe and valuable. Here's the payback. And here's the scope I'm ready to assume. You anchor on uncertainty removed, not tenure. Make it easy to say yes by pairing the ask with a structure that aligns incentives. P75 base plus a kicker tied to expansion, savings, or on-time launch for high-risk initiatives. Leaders here self-funding raise and move faster. Now client-side economics. Trust is a conversion asset. Buyers accept higher anchors and shorter cycles when your process makes their outcome safer. Use a 2-step proposal that signals both rigor and restraint. An executive summary in their language, a narrow pilot with kill criteria, and a de-risked expansion path. Phase 1 validates X in 30 days. If ROI clears Y, we expand to Z. You've replaced hope with gates, which justifies retainers and premiums. Price resistance isn't a wall, it's a trade-off test. Separate budget from risk. We can lower price by removing governance gates, or we can protect launch certainty and keep the gates. Which matters more this quarter? When they pick certainty, your premium stands. If they pick budget, you narrow scope and protect margin without eroding trust. First call status is the hidden multiplier. In crises, leaders call the person who picks up, frames fast, and executes with guardrails. First call gets priority allocation, calendar, people, budget, and first right of refusal on higher margin work. That compounding access flips your posture from convince them to qualify them, which quietly lifts average ticket and reduces time wasted on poor fit work. Let's put numbers behind the posture. Track 5 proof points and bring them to every negotiation. Win rate by stage with your governance in play. Average contract value when you own framing versus when you don't. Renewal rate and time to renew after artifacts exist. Expansion dollars sourced from risk-led initiatives. Escalation resolution time before versus after your involvement. You're teaching the org how to price you. Evidence beats adjectives. 2 micro-stories to anchor it. Operator to Rainmaker. A SaaS IC mapped stakeholder incentives on stalled deals, reframed value as deployment risk reduction, and proposed a 2-stage plan. 30-day risk audit, 60-day remediation with kill criteria. Close rate on red deals jumped. Leadership handed them quota on strategic saves. They secured a 22% raise and a kicker tied to expansion because they became the first call when an account wobbled. Second, a 6-figure services proposal doubled after the seller priced the real cost, the penalty of a delayed launch. They added a launch assurance clause tied to their governance. ACV doubled. The buyer signed in 2 days. Scripts you can lift. Salary. In the last 2 quarters, I lifted renewal rate 14 points, cut cycle time 20% on high-risk launches, and sourced $1.2 million in expansion by owning governance. I'm proposing strategic program scope with P75 base, plus a performance kicker on expansion and on-time delivery. Here's the one-pager with payback. Client. We can work hourly, but you'll pay for uncertainty. Or we do a fixed retainer with explicit governance, weekly checkpoints, red team review, executive readouts. The retainer saves cost of delay. This is the math. Procurement friction? Don't argue features, clarify constraints. If price must drop, we remove scope that protects your deadline. If the deadline must hold, we keep governance and stage funding. Procurement respects clean logic and risk literacy. Ask for priority allocation explicitly. To hit this date, I need executive access Tuesdays, a named ops counterpart, and 2 engineer sprints reserved. That's how we protect the outcome. You're trading your credibility for their resources, which makes delivery and your premium defensible. Socialize wins without chest thumping. 1 monthly 1-pager. Close rate lift, ACV increase, time to value, incidents prevented. Send it to sponsors and cross-functional leaders. Visibility turns isolated victories into a reputation priced across the org. Internal timing matters. Don't wait for annual reviews. Negotiate at the moment of proof. Right after a risky launch lands or a red account renews early, book the meeting. We cleared the threshold. Let's align title, scope, and comp to the risk I'm owning. Finally, protect the floor while you raise the ceiling. Pre-qualify work using a simple 3-question filter. Is the stake meaningful? Do we have executive access, and will governance be honored? If any answer is no, price higher or decline. Scarcity is part of the premium. You can't be the safe pair of hands if you're buried under unsafe mandates. Trust created the opening. Your framing and guardrails justify the price. The metrics keep it priced correctly. Next, we'll use the same playbook on complex problem solving, because owning the problem, not the task, is where upside moves from salary to equity. Skill 2, complex problem solving, framing, not just fixing. Trust opens doors. Disciplined framing keeps you at the table when the money decisions get made. Most folks jump straight to solutions and accidentally harden the wrong problem. Your advantage is slowing the room down just enough to define the outcome, the system it lives in, and the smallest reversible step that gets signal. Start with a crisp pass. Clarify, constrain, commit. Clarify the business objective in 1 sentence. No tasks, just the result. Constrain the search with explicit bounds. time, budget, compliance, risk appetite, dependencies. Then commit to a testable hypothesis with kill criteria before anyone builds. That sequence moves you from activity to decision quality. Systems beat symptoms. Draw the loops, actors, incentives, flows, delays, and failure points. Ask 3 ruthless questions. Who benefits if this stays broken? What upstream metric causes the downstream pain? And where does delay amplify cost? You'll find half of missing features are actually coupling issues between teams, approvals, or incentives. Even a dirty whiteboard map turns opinions into a shared model you can test. Now pick bets with a simple grid: impact versus uncertainty. Low impact, low uncertainty. Ship the simple fix quickly. High impact, high uncertainty. Expand discovery and stage risk. Your rule of thumb: complexity only earns its keep when the downside of being wrong is large. If not, simplify, ship, and measure. Use AI as an option engine, not an oracle. Let models blow the option space wide: approaches, precedents, cost curves, failure modes. Then you set evaluation criteria, context checks, and guardrails. Ask for counterfactuals and edge cases first. Translate outputs into steps the org can actually execute with real constraints and real owners. The value isn't the list, it's the chosen path with guardrails and a timer. Here's a 5-line memo that aligns fast. Line 1, problem statement in 1 sentence. Line 2, measurable objective. Line 3, constraints and non-negotiables. Line 4, 2 or 3 viable options with trade-offs. Line 5, the next reversible step and its kill criteria. Put that in front of a decision maker and watch cycle time collapse from weeks to minutes. Make learning speed visible. Track time to first signal and time to decision, not just time to ship. Celebrate fast invalidation as a win. Every door you close quickly concentrates resources on what pays. Leaders fund momentum that reduces uncertainty on a clock. A quick story to ground this. An ops team kept missing on-time delivery and wanted headcount. A systems map showed the bottleneck wasn't labor. It was batch size and review latency at one gate. They tested smaller batches, pre-approved patterns, and auto-approve under risk threshold for routine work. On-time delivery jumped 18% with 0 new hires. They didn't work harder. They fixed the system that made hard work wasteful. Stakeholder choreography decides whether solutions stick. Before recommending anything, align the scoreboard. Whose metric moves first, who absorbs risk, and which constraint is real this quarter. If finance needs cost certainty while product needs speed, present 2 paths. Fixed scope with tight cost bands and a slower timeline, or stage-gated speed with funding tied to checkpoints. You're solving both the problem and the politics. Run discovery like a sprint. Day 1, interviews and success criteria. Day 2, systems map and baseline metrics. Day 3, hypothesis set and test design with kill criteria. Day 4 to 9, quick tests or simulations. Day 10, readout with options, trade-offs, recommendation, and the next reversible step. Bake compliance and security into the constraints so rework doesn't eat your win. Narrate your logic under pressure. Given objective X, constraints A, B, C, data D, and risk tolerance R, we chose option 2 with a 2-week checkpoint. If results wobble, you revise the frame, not your integrity. Decision quality is your brand. Outcomes will vary. 2 traps to avoid. First, solutioneering. Falling in love with a build before the problem is priced. Force the 5 lines before a ticket is opened. Second, elegance addiction. Designing a cathedral when a shed would do. If the next reversible step can get signal safely, ship the shed and measure. Finally, quantify the payoff of framing. Track cycle time delta, defect rate change, cost per unit, and payback period per initiative. Add time to first signal and kill criteria met to normalize stopping early. Those numbers justify resources, earn you mandates that come with budget, and push you closer to ownership economics. Owning the problem, framed, instrumented, and staged, moves you from paid more to paid on upside. Skill 2: financial payoff, entrepreneurial and intrapreneurial upside. Here's where framing turns into real money. When you own the problem, not the task, you stop selling time and start capturing value. That value shows up 4 ways. You spot monetizable gaps before competitors, you expand margins by fixing systems, you earn upside through equity or gain share, and you stay paid when markets lurch because your playbooks travel. Spot gaps with an anomaly sweep, not a brainstorm. Once a month, pull defects, churn reasons, shadow spreadsheets, manual workarounds, and unresolved stakeholder questions. Rank by frequency, cost of delay per week, and political pain. Ask, who pays for this pain? What do they lose by waiting? And what's the smallest reversible fix that proves value in 30 days? That gives you wedges, narrow offers that clear a threshold fast and make the expansion obvious. Margins are where quiet profit hides. Use your system's map to find batch traps, approval latency, rework loops, and misaligned incentives. Price the fix on the delta. Internally, it's budget neutral, fund from savings. Externally, it's performance pricing, a base to cover effort plus a gain share on dollars created or costs avoided. You're not charging for activities, you're pricing the measurable shift. Upside comes from switching compensation basis. Inside companies, pitch outcome-linked scope with triggers, a role elevation that vests equity on ROI, a kicker tied to payback period, or revenue share on a new workflow you incubate. As an independent, pair a modest retainer with a success fee that triggers above baseline. The message is consistent. I'm co-owning the result with guardrails, not renting hours. Resilience is optionality. Framed problems recur across domains. Defect cuts, cost of delay, onboarding activation, compliance risk. Package your best 2 or 3 fixes into repeatable plays with artifacts. A 1-page decision memo template, a systems map rubric, a KPI baseline worksheet, and a 5-line option brief. That bundle becomes Intrapreneurial IP inside, portable revenue outside. Let me show you 3 plays that ship fast. Play 1, the wedge. Choose one painful, expensive bottleneck. Promise a concrete shift. Reduce failed handoffs 40% in 30 days. Cut time to invoice by 10 days. Lift activation 12 points. Deliver with a crisp path. Discovery, guardrails, reversible test, checkpoint. Price modestly but design an obvious step 2. Extend to a second team. Automate the stabilized process, or attach enablement. The wedge buys trust. Expansion monetizes it. Play 2, process to platform. Fix the workflow first, checklists, thresholds, early gates, and measurement. After you bank the savings, translate the stabilized flow into a lightweight internal tool, template pack, or automation with human checkpoints. Now you have an asset, reusable across teams, licensable outside, or the seed of an internal product line. You just turn know-how into durable IP. Play 3, gain share with a floor. 4 clean attribution initiatives, structure 2 parts, a base fee that covers discovery and build, and a performance component that activates above a clear baseline. We'll run a 90-day throughput lift. Base covers the lift. Once we clear 15%, we share savings for 6 months. You've aligned incentives without gambling your rent. Make the math visible. Track ROI per initiative. Benefit minus cost over cost. Track payback in months. Track optionality count. The number of distinct offers you can activate with minimal rework. Those numbers unlock funding internally, justify equity, and close performance deals externally. They also signal when to productize. Repeatable ROI means it's time to package. 2 quick snapshots. Analyst to builder. An analyst spotted recurring reporting defects that triggered executive escalations. They mapped the system, found batch and handoff ambiguity, ran a 60-day test, smaller batches, auto-validation, exception routing, killed 2 bad patterns, and cleared targets in 3 weeks. Finance modeled annual savings. Leadership granted equity tied to ROI on rollout. They moved from cost center to owner. Second, constraint to product. A team blamed compliance for 3-week launch delays. The problem owner reframed it as sequencing. They created pre-approved patterns, weekly office hours for edge cases, and moved review earlier on smaller artifacts. Launch time dropped 19 days. The same blueprint became a sellable pattern library plus coaching for adjacent orgs. Negotiate upside like a systems operator. Internally, here's the map, constraint, 60-day plan, and guardrails. Forecasted savings, $380,000, payback under 6 months. I'm proposing a scope shift and a 0.05% grant that vests when payback clears. Externally, audit plus lift. You keep the first $200,000 in savings. We split the next $400,000, 70/30ths. If we miss threshold, we credit 20% of base. Specific thresholds reduce friction. Avoid 2 traps. Activity isn't. Ownership. If you can't name the metric and the owner, you don't own the problem. And don't overbuild. Ship the smallest reversible step that gets signal. Scale only what works. Speed to signal beats elegance. Turn wins into assets on purpose. Save the before/after chart, the 5-line memo, the SOP with guardrails, and a short case. After 3 cycles, you have a kit. Sell the kit internally for scope and equity. Sell the kit externally for cash. That's how framing moves you from paid more to paid on upside, with resilience baked in. Skill 3, adaptability and learning agility, the meta advantage. Once you've built trust and you can frame problems, the last edge is speed of update without drama. That's adaptability and learning agility. Dropping stale assumptions quickly, acquiring the next useful capability on a clock, and turning experiments into income. In an AI market, skills have a half-life. The winners aren't the ones who know the most. They're the ones who replace what they know the fastest, with proof. Define it like this. Adaptability is willingness to abandon a comfortable playbook when reality shifts. Learning agility is the system that turns new inputs into shipped results. Together, it looks like a cadence. Spot a shift, strip assumptions, pick one adjacent skill with a clear capstone, ship a small project, and keep or kill based on evidence. Not vibes, evidence. Start with unlearning. Make a list that would sabotage the next stage. I must draft from scratch. Only managers present to execs. Prompting is a job. Replace each with a testable alternative. Use a model to generate 5 options, then red team outputs. I'll request 5 minutes on the next exec readout. Prompt patterns live inside SOPs that move a metric. Now choose a 90-day sprint with 3 tracks. 1 trust move, 1 systems fix, and 1 skill build. Keep each scope to a capstone artifact that proves value. Examples: a 1-page stakeholder brief that unlocks access, a cycle time cut with before/after, a tiny internal tool, template pack, or automation with guardrails. Courses support the project. They don't replace it. If there's no artifact at day 90, you consumed content. You didn't learn. Run microbets with kill criteria. 2 or 3 bets in parallel is plenty. If I can't land 1 paid deliverable or internal adoption in 60 days, pause. This prevents hype chasing while still catching real waves early. Diversify exposure across employment, a small retainer, and a productized deliverable. Optionality matters when one channel freezes. Speed improves with social learning. Find a tiny circle, 4 to 6 peers, and demo weekly. 1 artifact, 1 metric, 1 decision you need. Get 1 critique, commit to 1 change. Add a mentor pass monthly for pattern-level feedback. Feedback velocity beats time spent. Instrument learning like you instrument projects. Track cycle time, error rate, and cost per unit before/after you adopt your stack. Add time to first dollar for new skills and offers. Keep an optionality count. The number of distinct, sellable offers you could activate this month with minimal setup. Those numbers become your negotiation backbone and your personal early warning system. Tooling discipline helps. Pick 1 general model and 1 domain tool per sprint. In week 1, assemble a usable stack, prompts, checklists, a short SOP, and a red team step. Require citations on anything factual, and set, if unsure, ask 3 clarifying questions into your prompts. You're building speed without sacrificing reliability. Manage energy on purpose. 2 deep work blocks a day, 1 no-work evening, and a weekly review that prunes commitments. If something hasn't moved in 2 weeks, shrink it or kill it. Momentum is fuel. Drift is sand in the gears. Make learning visible. Internally, share a metric-first win. Cut research time 42% with a documented SOP. Here's the before/after. Externally, post a clean case bullet without sensitive numbers. Visibility attracts opportunities and cements your identity as someone who updates on cadence. A quick story to anchor it. A PM watched her backlog shrink after automation. In 60 days, she added lightweight data analysis and enablement. She built a dashboard that exposed activation friction and trained sales on a reframed value story. Churn risk dropped, expansions rose, and when headcount froze, she spun a small retainer helping a partner team replicate the play. Paycheck defended, options open. Turn adaptability into money with 4 proof points. First, time to new income. Date of shock to first new dollar. Aim to shorten that gap each quarter. Second, salary defensibility. Quarterly artifacts that anchor you to P75, P90 bands. automation wins, playbooks, internal tools. Third, option value. The count of offers you can activate in a week, retainer, audit, workshop, productized service. Fourth, BATNA strength. Real alternatives you can cite in negotiations, so you trade scope for price, not price for risk. 2 lines you can use. Internal. I shipped 3 artifacts that reduced cost and lifted activation. I'm proposing expanded scope, owning cost to serve, with P75 base and a kicker tied to savings. External. Let's de-risk with a 30-day audit that returns a quantified savings plan. If it clears a 10x fee threshold, we continue month to month. If not, you keep the playbook. Final pattern interrupt. Adaptability multiplies the other 2 skills. Trust accelerates when people see you adjust without panic. Framing sharpens when you can swap tools and methods on demand. Stack all 3, and shocks become setup. Shorter gaps to new income, stronger comp anchors, and credible options when the market wobbles. Skill 3, financial payoff. Durability and volatility protection. Let's price adaptability in dollars. In unstable markets, the people who update on cadence shrink the gap between disruption and new income. That gap is money. When shocks hit, for levers move if you've built learning agility. Faster time to new income, stronger salary defensibility, real option value when hiring freezes hit, and tougher negotiation posture because your stack is portable. Start with time to new income, the speed metric that decides runway. After a role shrinks or a client pauses, adaptable operators don't start from zero. They redeploy packaged micro-offers they've already shipped. Track the metric explicitly. Date of shock to date of first new dollar. Your aim is a steady downward trend driven by proof artifacts. A case memo, before slash after metrics, a landing page or internal one-pager, and 1 warm intro ready each quarter. The practical play. Keep 2 ready-to-run offers per sprint, an internal wedge you can pitch in your org, and an external, fixed-fee deliverable with a 30-day clock. When something breaks, you trigger one within a week. Now salary defensibility. Wages tilt toward operators who sit near the frontier and show deployment speed. Quarterly artifacts anchor you to higher comp bands because they price current output, not past titles. An automation that cuts cycle time 35%. A playbook that lifted activation 10 points. A tiny internal tool with guardrails. Bundle 3 artifacts per quarter into a single execution dossier you bring to comp talks. It answers the silent question. If we pay you more, what do we reliably get? With proof. Pair it with a scope proposal tied to risk. I'll own cost to serve across 2 teams with quarterly checkpoints. You're moving from pay me to fund this engine. Option value is your volatility hedge. When full-time markets freeze, contractors and independents with credible stacks keep moving because their skills are modular. Optionality count, the number of distinct, sellable offers you can activate in a week, becomes its own KPI. Maintain at least 3. A retainer for process redesign, a fixed-fee audit that returns quantified savings, and a workshop or enablement offer that installs your SOP. Pre-scope each with a tight promise, a checklist, and kill criteria. The goal isn't volume. It's valves you can open on demand to release pressure when one channel stalls. Negotiation posture hardens because portability strengthens your BATNA. When you can credibly cite alternate income streams and adjacent roles you could step into, you anchor higher and concede less. Use clean, calm language. I'm excited to own this outcome, and I'm pricing for the risk. If budget is the constraint, we can stage scope. Otherwise, I have 2 ROI-positive projects starting next month. You're not bluffing. You're referencing real alternatives your cadence created. Let's tie each lever to simple, visible math. Time to new income. Run a rolling log. Aim for 30 days, then 21, then 14. You'll get faster as artifacts and intros stack. Salary defensibility. Map artifacts to comp bands. For each quarter, attach a dollar delta, savings created, revenue enabled, cost of delay avoided, and a payback period. Optionality count. List active offers with a clear owner, promise, price, timeline, and proof. Update monthly. Retire dead inventory. BATNA strength. Pre-write 2 scope for price trades you can offer without eroding guardrails. Confidence comes from rehearsed alternatives. A quick story on the numbers. A product manager lost roadmap scope after automation. Because she'd been running 90-day sprints, she already had 3 artifacts. An activation dashboard, a sales enablement deck, and a research SOP with a red team step. Time to new income after the shock was 19 days. A small analytics retainer for a partner team, a monthly workshop, and a fixed-fee activation audit. Internally, those artifacts anchored a scope shift, owning cost to serve with a kicker tied to savings. Salary held at the P80 band while peers froze. Side income funded 6 months of runway. Speed and optionality did that, not luck. Make the mechanics boring and consistent. Each quarter, pre-package 2 offers with a 1-page promise, process, and proof chart. Keep a warm pipeline of 3 conversations a week across employment, contract, and collaboration. Instrument learning ROI on your dashboard. Cycle time, error rate, cost per unit, before/after adopting your stack. Maintain a visible run rate of shipped artifacts. If it doesn't ship, it doesn't count. 2 lines you can use immediately. Internal. In the last 90 days, I shipped 3 artifacts that cut cost and lifted activation. I'm proposing expanded scope with P75 base and a performance kicker tied to savings. Here's the payback. External. Let's de-risk this with a 30-day audit that returns a quantified savings plan. If we clear a 10x fee threshold, we continue month to month. If not, you keep the playbook. Final point. Adaptability monetizes because it compresses time. Time to signal, time to decision, time to first dollar. Shorter clocks equal stronger cash flow and safer careers. Stack that with trust and framing, and volatility becomes whether you're equipped to work in, not a storm that knocks you out. Build your plan. 90-day execution blueprint. Let's turn the stack into motion. 90 days, 3 tracks, 1 cadence, and artifacts that you can price. Keep it boring, visible, and measurable. You're building trust, framing problems, and proving adaptability on a clock. Weeks 1 to 2. Audit and aim. Do a blunt income risk audit. List every stream, dependency, and single point of failure. Score each 1 to 5 for volatility, replaceability, and proof. Map your work split, predictable versus ambiguous. If more than 60% is predictable, earmark it for automation leverage and move attention to trust, framing, and risk ownership. Pick your 3 tracks. Track 1. Trust with a stakeholder who controls budget or veto power. Track 2. A systems bottleneck with a measurable cost. Track 3. One adjacent skill that increases optionality and ships a paid artifact. Define a capstone for each. A 1-page stakeholder brief, a validated system fix with before/after metrics, and a deliverable you can sell internally or externally. Book the stakeholder conversation. Use this opener. I want to understand your scoreboard. What would make this quarter a win? What gets you yelled at? And where's uncertainty highest? Reflect back stakes in their language. Close with a micro-commitment and a date. You're earning access by making outcomes safer. Weeks 3 to 6. Execute the first pass. For trust, install governance. Create a single-page executive summary template you'll use weekly. Objective, constraints, success metrics, checkpoints, risks, and escalation lanes with names. Share it, then keep promises in public and renegotiate early in private. For the system bottleneck, run a 10-day discovery sprint. Day 1. Interviews and baselines, cycle time, defect rate, cost per unit. Day 2. A simple systems map with actors, flows, delays, and failure points. Day 3. Hypothesis set and kill criteria. Days 4 to 9. Small tests or simulations with guardrails. Day 10. Readout with options, trade-offs, and a next reversible step. Bake compliance into constraints so you don't pay rework tax later. For the new skill, assemble a minimal stack by day 5. 1 general model, 1 domain tool, a short SOP with prompts, a red team step, and a definition of done. Schedule a day 2-1 artifact deadline, a working automation, a template pack, a tiny internal tool. Anything that moves a metric. If scope slips, cut it in half and ship. Install a Friday rhythm. Publish a 1-pager to stakeholders. What moved, what's blocked, the decision you need, and the next checkpoint. Keep the structure constant. Add a personal review. What to cut, what to double, where to ask for help. Momentum compounds when everyone knows the next gate. Weeks 7 to 10, quantify and package. Put numbers on the wins. Defects down 31%. Time to approve from 9 days to 4. Close rate up 6 points on red deals. Turn each into an artifact. A case memo with a single chart, the SOP with guardrails, a before/after screenshot, and a 5-line option brief. Build an execution dossier deck. objective, constraints, options, outcome, and the guardrails that made it safe. Package 2 offers from your new skill. Internal wedge, a 30-day initiative with 1 metric and a checkpoint cadence. External wedge, a fixed-fee deliverable with a clear promise, timeline, and kill criteria. Price on value math, cost of delay, dollar savings, or revenue enablement. Write the one-pager. Keep it simple enough to send cold. Social proof without fluff. Post 1 distilled win internally and 1 externally. Lead with the metric, name the guardrails, and show the before/after. Ask your stakeholder for a line you can quote, even without numbers. Made a risky launch safe with weekly checkpoints. Weeks 11 to 12, convert outcomes into compensation. Internally, reprice your role at the moment of proof. We cleared the threshold. I'm proposing expanded scope, owning cost to serve, with P75 base and a kicker tied to savings. Bring your dossier. Offer staged options. Scope now, comp at the next window, or a pilot kicker for the next 90 days. Externally, run 2 precise pitches. 1 warm intro, 1 targeted cold where pain is visible. Use the wedge structure. A 30-day audit that returns quantified savings and an expansion path if the threshold clears. You want 1 closed proof that becomes recurring revenue or a referenceable case. Put your dashboard where decision makers can see it. Views for trust, close rate, renewal, referrals, systems, cycle time delta, defect trend, payback, and adaptability, time to first dollar, artifacts shipped, optionality count. Update Friday, share Monday. Add negotiation reps. Twice, roleplay your anchor with a peer. Open with outcomes, anchor on value, and trade scope for price. Practice the budget versus launch certainty line until it's clean. Strip hedges. Lock the next sprint. Keep 3 tracks, swap in a new stakeholder or bottleneck, and choose the next adjacent skill based on market pull. Start with an unlearning list so old assumptions don't leak into new bets. By day 90, you should feel 3 shifts, earlier executive access, clearer guardrails, and at least 1 modular offer in motion. Most importantly, you'll have numbers that price your work as uncertainty reduced, exactly what leaders still pay for. Metrics that matter, financial proof of progress. If you can't show the money, it didn't happen. Build a single metrics hub that proves trust, framing, and adaptability in dollars and days. Keep it boring, live, and visible so decision makers can price you without a meeting. Start with trust signals that convert to revenue. Track close rate, renewal rate, referral rate, average contract value, and escalation volume. Add 1 light confidence pulse to key stakeholders after milestones. How confident are you that we're protecting the outcome? On a 1 to 5 scale. What you're hunting for is lift tied to your governance artifacts, not vibes. Instrument the sales path. Create deal stages and tag the deals you personally framed with governance shared. That means the checklist, the escalation lanes, the pilot kill criteria, and the red team step were presented. Compare win rates before and after that tag shows up. 2 clean charts. Close rate delta with governance versus without, and ACV uplift when you own framing. If you don't have a sales motion, translate it. Internal approvals won versus delayed, initiative funding secured versus rejected, cycle time to yes. Renewal is your trust durability metric. Tag each account or stakeholder thread with artifacts in place. Has SOP, has exec summary, first call contact. Track renewal rate and time to renew for tagged versus untagged. A faster, earlier yes is compounding proof you're safe to fund. Referrals are your trust compounds while I sleep metric. Log source and refer, count monthly. Rising referrals signal your name travels rooms you don't enter. Quantify problem framing with 3 baselines and 3 deltas. Cycle time, defect rate, and cost per unit, before and after your change. Add payback period and ROI per initiative with simple formulas. Benefit can be dollars saved from reduced rework, revenue from faster activation, or penalties avoided by hitting a date. Put time to first signal in days on every initiative plus a kill criteria met? Yes/no. You're normalizing smart stops so leadership sees resource stewardship, not sunk cost ego. Make this practical with a dashboard section called Systems Wins. For visuals, cycle time delta over the last 90 days, defect trend line, payback period distribution, and cumulative savings by initiative. Each card links to a short memo and the 5 lines you used to earn the decision. Decision makers don't want another deck. They want a number they can defend. Adaptability gets priced with speed and optionality. Track time to first dollar for each new skill or offer. Date started to date cashed. You want that number trending down as your cadence improves. Count shipped artifacts per quarter. If it didn't ship, it doesn't count. Add offer optionality. The number of distinct, sellable offers you can activate in a week with minimal prep, retainer, audit, workshop, productized service. That count is your volatility hedge. Layer in personal finance to harden your negotiating posture. Show savings runway in months, liquid assets over average expenses. Track income by stream, salary, retainer, fixed fee, gain share, tiny product. Count how many streams contribute at least 10% in the last 90 days. 3 or more means a single shock won't knock you out. You're not flexing, you're anchoring power with safety. Tie it all together with one weekly execution scorecard. 4 bullets, 1 page, same format every Friday. Trust, close/renewal/ACV deltas, top referral source. Systems, cycle time delta, defect trend, payback wins. Adaptability, time to first dollar, artifacts shipped, optionality count. Finance, runway months, income mix. Add 1 decision needed line so leaders can unblock you. Consistency builds credibility. Visibility earns budget. Now, the micro-stories numbers tell. A consultant added a governance shared step in proposals. Win rate rose from 27% to 36% and ACV up 18%. Same work, safer buy. An ops lead cut invoice time from 12 days to 6 with a small SOP plus script. ROI 340%, payback 1.8 months. A PM reduced time to first dollar on a new activation audit from 54 to 17 days between versions because artifacts and a landing one-pager were ready. Those are hiring lines and comp levers, not anecdotes. Guard against self-deception. Always baseline before you touch a system. Don't mix segments. Compare like-to-like by deal size or team. Attribute carefully when multiple initiatives hit one metric, stagger tests, or split credit. And track cost of delay in notes, even if rough. Every week we weight costs X. That math justifies retainers and stage-gated funding. 2 templates you can copy today. Executive metrics mail, monthly. Outcome deltas, plus 8 points close rate mid-market, minus 31% defect rate QA lane, plus $420K forecasted savings, payback 3.2 months. Next 30 days. Extend SOP to 2 teams, run wedge on activation, propose gain share on cost to serve. Client scorecard biweekly. Objective, current risk, last checkpoint next. Checkpoint, blockers, decision needed. They look simple, they buy you trust and speed. Turn the dashboard into a negotiation engine. Internal script. Here are the outcomes and the payback we delivered. I'm proposing title and scope aligned to the risk I'm owning. P75 base plus a performance kicker tied to savings/expansion. External script. Here's before/after, ROI, and our governance. Let's do a 30-day wedge with kill criteria. If we clear a 10x fee threshold, we expand. You're not begging. You're pricing a de-risked result. Finally, make the metametric your North Star, uncertainty reduced per quarter. That's the sum of trust durability, decision speed, and adaptability to ship new income. When you can show that number moving, in approvals, in cycle time, in dollars, your work becomes easy to fund and hard to fire. In an AI-compressed market, that's the metric that keeps you unfireable. Common traps and how to avoid them. There are 5 traps that quietly stall careers in an AI market. If you dodge them, your momentum compounds. If you don't, you'll feel busier while your price sinks. Trap 1. Learning without shipping. Binging courses feels productive, but value comes from artifacts that move a metric. Fix it with the 90-day cadence. 1 stakeholder win, 1 systems fix, 1 new skill with a capstone. Write a pass/fail rule on day 1. No artifact, no credit. Tie every module to a live deliverable. By week 3, cut research time 40% using a documented SOP plus a red team step. If it isn't on your dashboard, it didn't happen. Trap 2. Treating prompting as a destination. Clever lines are already being abstracted into tools. The durable asset is governed workflows that hit numbers. Package patterns inside SOPs with guardrails. Discovery prompts with verification, analysis prompts with validation, draft prompts with style constraints and citation checks. Organizations by reliability, not freestyle. Put the SOP, the checklist, and the metric on a one-pager. That's what gets funded. Trap 3. Chasing titles over outcomes. Titles lag value by quarters. Comp follows proof. Shift your ask from label to risk-owned and payback. Keep a 3-chart promo case live. Close rate lift where you own framing, cycle time delta where you changed a system, dollars saved or enabled with payback in months. Use it right after a win, not at year-end. We cleared the threshold. Let's align scope and comp to the risk I'm carrying. Trap 4. Negotiating only on offer day. Under pressure, you'll hedge and discount. Build muscle memory with 2 mock reps a month. Practice 3 moves until crisp. Open with outcomes, anchor on value math, and trade scope for price, not price for risk. Set your keystone question now. We can lower price by removing governance gates, or protect the deadline and keep the gates. Which constraint matters more? Say it out loud until it's automatic. Trap 5. Solo learning without feedback. Blind spots grow in silence, projects drift. Form a tiny accountability circle, 4 to 6 peers, and meet weekly. Show 1 artifact, 1 metric, and 1 decision you need. Receive 1 pointed critique, commit to 1 change by next session. Add a monthly mentor pass for pattern-level insights. Feedback velocity beats time spent. 2 meta traps look productive and waste quarters. First, building tools nobody asked for. Automating your personal annoyance isn't value unless someone with a budget cares. Validate with a buyer before building. Whose metric moves, what's the cost of delay per week, and who signs? No owner, no urgency, or no metric. Pause. Second, optimizing a broken system. Making waste faster doesn't help. Map the loop. Ask, if we stop doing this entirely, what breaks that matters? If the answer is not much, kill it rather than polish it. Add a few guardrails to stay clear. Timebox exploration. 2 hours a week for scanning, the rest tied to live work. Write kill criteria up front. If there's no signal by day 14, narrow or stop. Publish weekly. A 1-pager with what moved, what's blocked, the decision you need, and the next checkpoint. Instrument everything. Baseline first, then deltas. Numbers prevent self-deception and make wins easy to fund. Pre-negotiate resourcing before you accept risk. Named counterparts, executive access windows, and capacity on shared teams, so your plan can actually land. Now, the pattern interrupt worth memorizing. Replace permission with reversible test. More information with first signal. And I'll be ready when with I'll be credible because I measure. That language keeps you shipping, protects you from hype, and moves you toward the scarce human work. Trust, framing, and risk ownership. One quick story. A team wanted a tool to automate intake. Instead of coding, the operator ran a 2-week paper prototype with a checklist, a triage rule, and a daily 15-minute stand-up. Cycle time dropped 22%, defect handoffs fell 35%. Only then did they spec a lightweight build. Cost was trivial, payback under 2 months, and the operator got scope to standardize across 2 teams. They avoided both meta traps. They validated a buyer and refused to polish a bad process. Use this section as a checklist. If momentum stalls, you'll find the leak here. Work with AI, the Augmentation Playbook. Use AI as your option engine and speed layer. Models for volume and variation, you for direction, constraints, and final accountability. The rule, generate gate, then go. Tools expand choices, you reduce risk. Start with first draft acceleration that's actually reliable. Before a blank page, feed a model a tight brief. Audience, objective, tone, banned phrases, constraints, and 2 examples of acceptable style. Ask for 5 outlines, not 1 draft. Merge the best pieces, then have the model self-critique against your brief before it hands you copy. Your time drops from 4 hours to 1, with fewer rewrites and fewer tone misses. Pair every workflow with a lightweight SOP. 6 steps is enough. Intake, model options, human selection, evidence pull, draft, red team, and sign-off. Attach a prompt, a checklist, and a definition of done to each step. The checklist is where quality lives, required citations. Ask 3 clarifying questions if unsure, and flag risk terms. Now anyone on your team can reproduce your standard at speed. Risk controls are non-negotiable. Add a pre-flight checklist, factual citations, privacy scrub, bias scan. Instruct a second model to attack your output. Find hallucinations, conflicts, edge cases. Then require human subject matter review on anything high stakes. Track incident rate and rework hours. Your goal is down and to the right. You're telling leadership, we use acceleration with guardrails. Instrument the economics. Log pre- and post-cycle time, error rate, and approval latency. Convert time saved into dollars only when it's redeployed into output that shipped or headcount you avoided adding. Time saved without redeployment is a vanity metric. Time saved that enabled 3 extra launches is a budget case. Pick stacks that stay simple. For writing, a general LLM plus your style guide prompt. For analysis, sheets plus a model that proposes formulas and validity checks. For code, your IDE with tests plus a code assistant and a rule, generate, run tests, review diffs document. For product, user story generation plus your acceptance criteria grid. Resist tool sprawl, mastery beats novelty. Here's a repeatable research pipeline you can steal. Step 1. Ask the model for a landscape summary with 5 candidate sources and a confidence score. Step 2. You select credible sources and pull exact quotes with links. Step 3. Have the model force rank options against your jobs to be done criteria. Step 4. Validate with 2 expert calls. Step 5. Produce a 1-page exec brief with risks and a recommendation. Same quality, 1/5 the time, higher confidence through human gates. Use models to explore, then you decide. When you're stuck, ask for 3 approaches, 3 failure modes for each, early warning signals, and the smallest reversible test. Feed constraints up front, budget, compliance, timeline. Demand counterexamples and edge cases first. The point isn't cleverness. It's compressed exploration you can defend in a room that signs checks. Teach your voice once, then reuse it. Build a style guide prompt. Audience, tone, band phrases, sentence length, structure, and 3 examples of good and bad. Require a self-critique against the guide before the model returns copy. You'll spend less time fixing tone and more time verifying truth and framing. Keep analysis grounded. Ask the model to propose formulas, then implement and verify in sheets. Force it to list assumptions, missing data, and sensitivity tests. Treat numbers like you would from a sharpened turn. Helpful, fast, never final. Your credibility is the signers. Reserve it for things you verified. Automate the glue with guardrails. Meeting notes become decisions with owners and dates. Inbox triage becomes a task queue with priorities. Customer feedback becomes draft tickets with acceptance criteria. Test data gets generated for edge cases. Always gate before production. Human review, checklist pass, then go. Red team your prompts. Ask, where will you hallucinate? Where will you overstate confidence? What would a cautious reviewer flag? Fix with constraints and required citations. Add, if unsure, ask for clarification with exactly 3 questions. You'll reduce confident nonsense before it sneaks past you. Handle privacy like a professional. Don't paste sensitive data into consumer tools. Use enterprise instances with data retention controls or approved on-prem options. Strip identifiers, obfuscate, synthesize when possible. Document what may leave the environment and what may not. Put a short data policy in proposals so clients see your guardrails in writing. Make portfolio proof visible. Save side-by-side artifacts, original versus AI-assisted, timestamps, and diffs. Add a 3-bullet case, metric moved, guardrails used, risk avoided. Keep screenshots. When budgets tighten, that page is your defense and your raise. Train your team, not just your tools. Run a 1-hour enablement. Demo the SOP, give templates, and practice on a live deliverable. Include a troubleshooting appendix, common failure modes and fixes. Schedule a monthly pattern share. One teammate presents a prompt or micro-automation that met the bar, measurable delta, and clear guardrails. That's how you scale adoption without chaos. Use AI to prep for negotiation. Ask for a stakeholder map, likely objections by persona, and value equations phrased in their language. Simulate a skeptical CFO and a cautious compliance lead. Practice answers out loud until clean. When the call comes, you're not guessing, you've rehearsed. For creative work, think variation, not final. Generate 5 hooks, 3 structures, and 2 endings. You pick the spine, then add human moments that land. Keep a performance swipe file, prompts and structures that drove results, retire losers. Creativity stays human. The tool expands your surface area for good ideas. Connect this to wealth creation. Every hour AI saves gets reinvested into higher leverage work or into assets. An SOP, a template, a script, a playbook you can sell or reuse. Treat artifacts like capital. Track their yield, prune low performers, and reinvest in the ones that compound. One last pattern you'll appreciate. Generate Gate Go isn't just safety, it's your negotiating frame. We run acceleration with guardrails, option exploration, red team checks, human sign-off. That's why we can commit to time and quality. Your packaging speed as certainty. That's the premium leaders still pay. Wealth integration. Turn skills into lasting security. You've built leverage, now turn it into durable money. The rule is simple. Every new dollar gets a job, and every hour saved becomes an asset. We'll wire a system that captures your salary premium, monetizes your wedges, and smooths shocks so you negotiate from strength, not fear. Here's where most people mess up. They treat income and wealth as separate games. They aren't. Your income system and your wealth system have to talk, or you end up running harder while staying broke. We'll connect them on purpose so every win feeds compounding. Start with an allocation autopilot. Route base salary and retainers through a simple split on payday. 60% broad equities, 20% international equities, 20% bonds or cash-like ballast. If you have an employer match, fund that first, free return. Then resume the split in a taxable account for flexibility. Automate transfers so momentum doesn't rely on willpower. Variable income, retainers, performance kicks, gain share, needs a different lane. Sweep 50% to an emergency buffer until you hit 6 months of essential expenses. Sweep the other 50% to tax-advantaged vehicles if available. Once those are full, funnel back to your default split. When the buffer is complete, reassign that 50% to a volatility bucket, earmarked for slow quarters and experiments. Liquidity buys time to choose, not react. Equity is upside with concentration risk. Set a sell schedule the day you get it. Decide tranches tied to vesting and blackout windows, then diversify on autopilot into your core ETFs. If you have ISOs or tax nuances, plan exercises with a pro. Don't let taxes turn a win into a drag. Your narrative is clean. Take concentrated upside for building value. Convert to diversified compounding on a clock. Now, channel AI leverage into assets. Every SOP, template, automation, and playbook you ship should live in a version folder with a README, a license note if you sell it, and a one-page case showing ROI. Twice a year, pick which internal artifacts become external products. A productized audit, a template pack, or a microcourse tied to outcomes. These low-maintenance drips stack optionality. Create a capital flywheel ritual each quarter. Do 3 moves. Raise prices where your metrics justify it, kill one low ROI effort, and deploy one asset to market. Split proceeds. 70% to your default allocation, 30% to a builder bucket that funds capability, courses tied to live artifacts, a lightweight tool, or audience growth. You're compounding both financial and earning power. Cash management is posture. Label accounts by purpose so emotion doesn't raid the wrong bucket. Launch buffer, volatility bucket, builder bucket, core compounding. Check runway monthly, liquid assets divided by average expenses, and protect it like reputation. Run 3 weeks ahead on bills. Run 3 months ahead on taxes in a separate subaccount swept from every non-salary deposit at a conservative rate. Tie the plan to time horizons. Short term, under 2 years cash and short bonds for stability. Mid-term, 3 to 7 balanced, equities plus bonds for near-term goals. Long-term, 8 plus equities dominate. Write a 1-page investment policy statement that defines targets, rebalancing bands, and what triggers changes. When headlines scream, you follow the page, not adrenaline. Your income system and your wealth system should talk. Connect your execution scorecard to money decisions. When cycle time drops and expansion dollars rise, schedule a comp ask and a contribution increase. When a shock hits, trigger the volatility bucket and launch a prepackaged offer within a week. If optionality count falls below 3, pause new investments in external assets and rebuild the pipeline first. Money follows the operating cadence, not the other way around. Insurance is strategy, not fear. Health, disability, and liability keep a single event from derailing compounding. If you consult, add professional liability aligned to your scope. Review coverage when your risk ownership grows. Price peace of mind against the cost of interruption. Debt policy is simple. Kill high-interest consumer debt first. It's negative compounding. For low rate, fixed debt aligned to appreciating assets, ensure cash flow coverage and optionality. If volatility rises, consider accelerating payoff to reduce fixed obligations and increase BATNA. Taxes are part of yield. Automate quarterly estimates for variable income. Favor tax-advantaged accounts where rules allow, but prioritize flexibility if you expect near-term pivots. Keep immaculate records for business expenses tied to shipped artifacts, software subcontractors, research calls, so every dollar buys speed or proof, not clutter. Add a family governance layer if you share finances. Agree on thresholds. Minimum runway before taking a bigger risk, drawdown levels that pause experiments, and when to convert windfalls into ballast. Put roles on paper, who monitors accounts, who runs quarterly reviews, so stress doesn't create confusion. Make generosity a design choice. Allocate a small percentage to causes or people you back. It reminds you wealth is stored flexibility and cements an identity beyond earnings. Paradoxically, planned giving reduces random splurges by satisfying the urge to act. Quarterly review cadence keeps it honest. 5 checks, runway months, income mix, contribution rate, asset allocation drift, and optionality count. 3 decisions. Raise contributions where the engine proves itself, rebalance to targets, and choose one artifact to productize next. Document in a single page with the date, so compounding has a paper trail. Here's how this system monetizes your skills. Trust lifts your price and stabilizes renewals. That predictable flow funds your default allocation. Framing generates ROI artifacts. Those become assets you productize for extracurricular optionality. Adaptability shortens time to new income. That keeps the volatility bucket intact and strengthens your negotiation posture during downturns. The loop is tight. Outcomes, artifacts, assets allocation, runway, better negotiation, bigger outcomes. One microstory to close the loop. An operator ran 3 sprints, banked a 31% defect reduction and a 6-point close rate lift, and packaged the wins into a paid internal scope plus a tiny external audit. As layoffs rolled through the org and teams were cut around them, they automated contributions off the raise, funded a 6-month volatility bucket from the external drip, and converted a quarter of a performance grant to index funds as it vested. When their org restructured, time to new income was 13 days. Buffer covered the gap, optionality turned on, and the core portfolio never stopped compounding. Skills created the premium, the system defended it. Final move, put one habit on the calendar today. Automate the first contribution, label your buckets, and schedule your quarterly flywheel. If you do nothing else, that routine turns unpredictable upside into an engine that compounds quietly while you sleep. Rapid action checklist. Do this in 7 days. You've got the stack. Now buy momentum fast. 7 days, 7 moves, all tied to trust, framing, and adaptability, with proof at the end. Day 1. Book one stakeholder value conversation. Send a tight note. 20 minutes to understand your scoreboard. I'll propose one quick win with a clear checkpoint. Go in with 3 questions. What would make this quarter a win? What gets you yelled at? Where is uncertainty highest? Mirror their stakes in their language, confirm a micro-commitment, and put a date on it. Close with, I'll send a 1-pager by tomorrow. Day 2, install a governance artifact. Draft a single-page executive summary template you'll reuse. Objective, constraints, success metrics, checkpoints, risks, and named escalation lanes. Use it immediately for the commitment you set. This makes the work safe to buy and gives you a visible trust lever you can point to when you negotiate. Day 3, run a microtest on a costly bottleneck. Pick one process that burns hours, approvals, handoffs, or repeat defects. Write a 1-sentence hypothesis and a kill criterion. If we cut batch size in half in pre-approved patterns, cycle time drops 20% in 2 weeks. Stop if quality dips. Launch it and capture baselines today. Cycle time, defect rate, cost per unit. Put the checkpoint on the calendar. Day 4, monetize one adjacent skill. Package a deliverable you can ship in 30 days. An activation audit, a research SOP, a tiny automation, or a pattern library. 1 page only, promise, process, proof, price, and a kill criterion. Send it to 1 warm contact and 1 precise cold outreach where the pain is visible. Your goal is 1 live conversation, not 100 emails. Day 5, make proof portable. Build a minimal execution dossier with 3 cards. The governance 1-pager you used, the microtest hypothesis with baselines, and the offer page. Add one chart slot reserved for next week's early signal. This bundle becomes your negotiation spine and your internal brand asset. Day 6. Do 2 negotiation reps. Grab a peer and role-play salary and retainer anchors. Open with outcomes, anchor on value math, and trade scope for price. Practice the keystone line until it's muscle memory. We can lower price by removing governance gates, or protect the deadline and keep the gates. Which constraint matters more? Record, cut hedges, tighten numbers. Day 7. Ship visible proof. Publish a one-pager or quick loom showing your microtest baseline, the change, early signal, and the next checkpoint. Share it with your stakeholder, your team channel, and one external audience. Visibility creates pull. Artifacts create credibility. Ask your stakeholder for a short quote you can reuse, even without numbers. Made a risky launch safer with weekly checkpoints. 2 accelerators beneath the week. Instrument everything. Spin up a tiny dashboard with views for trust, close/renewal/ACV, systems, cycle time delta, defect trend, and adaptability, time to first dollar, artifacts shipped, optionality count. Enter baselines today. Update Friday. Pre-negotiate resourcing. In your stakeholder follow-up, secure executive access windows, a named counterpart, and capacity on shared teams. Risk ownership without access is a trap. Avoid 3 landmines. Don't overbuild the offer. Narrow, reversible, 1 metric. Don't bury the ask. End every conversation with a dated commitment and a definition of done. Don't post fluff. Share concrete before slash after evidence, not platitudes. By next weekend, you'll have 3 assets most people never assemble. A decision maker who trusts you, a live system test with signal, and a scope deliverable in motion. That's momentum you can price. Here's the one thing to remember. When you can prove trust, frame problems, and adapt on a clock, you get paid for reducing uncertainty, not hours. If you're ready to convert this into comp, watch the next video where I turn these artifacts into word-for-word negotiation scripts. Drop your 30-day target metric in the comments, subscribe for the full playbook, and send this to the teammate you want unfireable beside you.